morning. Good morning. I'm going to speak about wealth and the truth about wealth today. And I believe that the not understanding it clearly is one of the reasons why so many people struggle with wealth. So my name is Judy V, and I work with entrepreneurially minded people to become financially empowered so that they can have the freedom that they deserve. And when I say entrepreneurially minded people, I'm not talking about necessarily people who have their own business, but people who want to take responsibility for the direction of their life, for the level of empowerment they have in their life, and for the quality of their life, rather than allowing life to happen to them. So that's what I mean when I say entrepreneurially minded people. And what do I talk about? What do I mean by freedom? When I say to have the freedom that they desire, that they deserve. And the freedom means the freedom to choose what it is that you would love to do every single day. The freedom to be, do, and have what your heart desires. And that's what wealth brings. That's the truth about wealth. Wealth gives you freedom. But wealth is not about, it's not about what you need. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people make. People focus on what they need. People focus on making ends meet. People focus on their livelihood, which is all based on survival. It's all based on existence. It's not based on thriving. It's not based on desire. It's not based on their heart's desires. And as I always say, to live a fulfilled life, to live a life to the fullest extent of your potential, you need to be empowered in all areas of life. And if you're not, any area of life you're not empowered, you're going to be overpowered. And that's one of the foundational primary requirements of empowerment. Because of this, the society we live in, financial empowerment is essential. And I always say to people, wealth is about building wealth in all areas of life from a place of desire, not a place of need. And when you start to understand that, when you start to connect with what it is that you desire, truly desire in your heart. I sound a bit like Lucifer from the movie. Have you seen the series? Every time I say that, I think, that sounds familiar. It's just dawned on me. Have you seen Lucifer, the series? I know there's a lot of controversy about that, but I have to tell you, it is a load of absolute rubbish, but I'm bloody addicted to it. I'm absolutely addicted to it. Because the character, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. But what he does is his thing is that he leans into people that he might, he's working with a detective and he's supposed to be the devil, but he's a really cute Englishman. And he leans into people and he says, what is it that your heart desires? Now he has this apparent connection and people it's making it incapable for people to lie. So therefore, if they've committed the crime, they will admit it, right? Anyway, that's part of why I love it, because I really do believe that we need to be focusing on what our heart desires. Anyway, segue. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. It's really quite cool. It's a load of rubbish, but it's absolutely funny. But anyway, when we start coming from what our heart truly desires, not what we need, or importantly, even more importantly, not what we inject into our life is what we feel we should desire, we should want, we should need, okay? Because we so often are guilty of subordinating ourselves to outside influences, outside agendas, to other people's values. Even our partner, even it doesn't even need to be out there, so to speak. It can be even your partner. So, Patricia, I promise you, I knowing you, I think you're going to find it hilarious. Okay, the first season is what got me hooked, right? And it was really cool. It really is so cool. It looks weird, but it's so cool. And as the seasons have gone on, I mean, the quality of the storyline is shocking. It really is shocking, but I can't resist it. I absolutely can't resist it. So knowing you, Patricia, I really believe that you're going to love it. But you're also going to love when he leans in and he says, so what is it that your heart desires? And you're going to think, you've heard that before. but it's so true. And I think that's partly why I love it. It's that as he talks about your heart desires, and that is what runs my life. It runs every choice I make on a moment by moment basis. It's what is it that my heart desires, and when you follow that, you don't make wrong turns. You don't go down false yellow brick roads. You don't have doubt. You don't feel self-limiting. You don't feel that you don't question yourself. Because when you're following your heart desires, it's coming from a place within yourself that's connected to the universe in total. And in that place, there is abundance, there's prosperity, there's limitless opportunities and potential. There's nothing you can't achieve. When we start looking and looking for what we feel we should desire, we should need, we should want, we ought to, we must, and when we start focusing on just need, we lose that touch. We lose touch with that inner power. We lose touch with that, with the universal intelligence, with our heart and soul. We lose touch. And then that's when we start doubting ourselves. That's when we start limiting ourselves. That's when we start allowing the judgments, perceptions, and challenges of the past to impact how we feel in this moment, and how we feel about what it is that we ought to, should be, think we need to be desiring or going after. That's when we become limited. It's when we become truly mortal. But when you start really looking at it from what your heart desires. Now, here's the important thing about heart desires. And again, I say it all the time. It's not about necessarily making radical changes in your life. It's, it could be that nothing changes in your career, in your business, but it's about the focus that changes. Okay, so you might be doing your career that you're in, or the business that you have, might be doing 100% what it is you were born for. But you might perceive that it's not, because you're not getting X, Y, or Z out of it, or it's not fulfilling you A, B, or C, because you are feeling that that's what you should be getting, or should be feeling, or should be doing. But when you take a step back and you start analyzing and looking at it from a different perspective, and start seeing how it is perfectly aligned with your values, and how you might just need to shift slightly some perceptions, possibly even some of the actions, some of the focus of your wealth building, your business, your career, it shifts from being a place of need, place of not so much fulfillment, maybe hesitation, frustration, procrastination. It shifts into something that is so fulfilling, so rewarding, that it actually, what it does is it expands you, it increases your level of consciousness, it increases your level of deserving, it increases your level of self-worth, and in that process you increase your level of net worth. And it doesn't have to be, as I always say, you can transform, accelerate, and absolutely put your life on a whole different trajectory in less than 60 days. And it does not necessarily mean major life-changing decisions. It's about perception, it's about focus, it's about aligning what it is you are doing to what it is you are authentically are, what you were born to be, do, and have, and what your core values are, what your ultimate purpose is. That's what it's all about. And sometimes in that process, what uncovers is maybe, what might actually uncover is a requirement for a slight transition plan. So you're like almost there, but you realize that it's not quite. And it's not necessarily about having to let go of what you're doing in order to do something else. And then there's fear associated with that, because, there's uncertainty, and we don't like uncertainty. But then in that place, you do a transition plan. And when you're in that transition plan, that time between where you are now to getting to where you would love to be, again, often people think that will take forever. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it happens in a heartbeat, in an absolute heartbeat. So that's what the truth about wealth. That's really the core of it. And today in the 15-day challenge, 15-day recharge challenge, it's amazing to see what's coming out from people about what wealth means to them, because that was today's task, was to find out what does wealth truly mean for them. Now tomorrow we've got a really, really, really interesting and very intriguing exercise for the challenge. Tomorrow is day 9. Yes, tomorrow's day 9. So if you're not in the challenge, you would love to be in the challenge, then come and join us. I'll put the link in the group below. It's completely free. And if you are in the challenge, Patricia, Lynette, anyone else here who's in the challenge, you're going to have to wait for 11:11 to find out what tomorrow's task is. Just know that it is awesome. It is absolutely awesome. All right, guys, take care. Lots of love, and I'll catch you shortly, but hopefully at 11:11 today for day 8 of the challenge, for the mentor session and for your task for tomorrow. Okay, guys, take care. Bye-bye.